Hey YouTubers, it's Steve calling from Rescape, my channel that seeks to aid and benefit people by helping them be aware and form their or reform their fundamental view of reality or fundamental perception of reality, and how that can affect them and affect those around them and make their life better and make them better. Today is day 14, it's 2 weeks today, and also my life is about to get pretty crazy. I'm not going to go into it, but because of that, and just for a better policy of like 14 videos in 2 weeks, like that's a lot for people to watch. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start making one video a week, and I will post it Sunday, and it'll be a longer video, hopefully, but I won't be posting a video every day anymore. Because like the fact I made it this long is pretty impressive. You think all the stuff that I've had to you know put off or be late to or things like that. But so now I'll have a whole week to think out one awesome something and make it like 20 minutes long. And then people that may not have watched a 20-minute video that comes out every day would be like, well, it's been a week, so I guess I can make 20 minutes. Sometime during the next week where nothing's coming out, maybe I'll find time to do it, watch one of my 20-minute videos. And it'd be better just to articulate things, all in one sync while I'm just like freestyling whatever comes out of my mouth, however my thoughts form, which just seems to be the way these videos are forming or coming together. So today's 14. It's going to be the last day video, not week video. I'm continuing my structural alignment series, structural alignment number 6, I think. I think last one was 5. But anyway, today's structural alignment is a big one. It's one that I am still not doing very well on at all. Different alignments are going to be more difficult or less difficult depending on who the person is. Because of my background, for whatever reason, which I'm not going to go into, this structural alignment is extremely difficult for me, and it will be difficult for people similar to me or similar backgrounds to me. But it is like, if you can get this one down, like, oh man, your life will be like, you'll be doing a lot of things that you wouldn't have done before, and a lot of doors would be opening, and you would just seem like a more powerful person. Like, people will just know like you have a charisma you didn't have before. So it's good to work on. And the setup for this structural alignment is such that if you're by yourself, you kind of have this, like, how is it to be by yourself? You have more of an ease. Well, compare it to being out in a crowd, like you're at a circus or something, or no, a carnival or a festival of some sort, and you're surrounded by people, or you're in the mall surrounded by people, and it's a different feel because you don't do things that you would do by yourself. Like, you might not pick your nose or whatever it is. Like, you're more on guard or you're more cautious, and that's normal. And also, halfway in between is if you're with a group of friends, or even if you're talking with one person. Like, if you're talking one-on-one with somebody, and then you decide to talk with 5 people, and that person's in the group with you, but now there's 3 other people, and they're not going to act towards you the same way as they might if it was just the 2 of you. And you can, for different reasons for that is. So basically, the more people you add, the more that's going to change the way you feel and how you behave in certain things. And all this is normal. The reason I bring it up is because, again, with the misperception, the tension here is that people value their reputation or how people think about them. Now, one way to value your reputation that actually isn't a break is that if you need to do something and you need people to do something, and in order for them to do something for you, they need to think of you a certain way, and so you have an end goal in mind that's not morally ambiguous, then you want to keep those people thinking a certain way about you, and so there's that. But if you have people, or wanting people to think about you a certain way because it makes you feel better about yourself, well, that's a break. And I know it's a break just because I know what breaks feel like, but I haven't thought about how this is a break. So let me think. Okay, this is a break because you have 2 things going on here. You have your reputation towards yourself, how you feel about yourself, and then you also have how other people feel about you. So if you value their reputation, if you're depending on other people's views of you to keep your self-identity, then you're clashing with the knowledge that you already have of yourself. If you're a whole person, you already know like who you are. You should already know you live with yourself every day. Like, you can get to know yourself and who you are. It doesn't matter if you're by yourself or with other people. You're still, like, your consciousness doesn't change. Like, you're you. So the break is when the opinions and values of other people of yourself, not even like clash with, but even if they have a place. Let's say you 99% you value your own opinion, but 1% you value what other people are. Well, you're still broken. So this is where it gets really hard, because in order to be whole, like you can't care anymore. And then people are like, well, if you don't care at all, you're a heartless you're a bad person. You don't care. It's like whole people, sometimes they do come across as heartless or selfish, but it's not selfishness. It's just the fact that they're whole in themselves and they don't need other people, and so they're not trying to please people. That's one of the key ways to know if you depend on other people, for your positive self-identity, is if you try to please people, or if you get anxious when you have to tell someone or something they don't want to hear, or you're trying to avoid conflict. Whole people don't mind conflict because it doesn't affect who they are or their situation. So, okay, so what's the structural alignment to this? The structural alignment to this, at its highest level, I actually just came upon this today, which is why I'm doing this structural alignment today. I can do the structural alignment, but I have to be aware that I'm doing it. I can't just have it. For some reason, I'm not at the level where I can have this running in the background. But if someone like starts yelling and screaming at me, I can be like, oh, step back. Okay, this person's batshit crazy. And then the structural alignment comes on. And this is the structural alignment. Structural alignment is that how someone reacts is a reflection of them and not a reflection of you. So I'm sure this has been said before or whatnot, but really to actually apply this, like I 100% apply this. And this is what it feels like. It really feels like you're looking at someone through a two-way mirror, where they're like you're on one side of the mirror, like in the dark room, and then they're in the bright room where they see themselves in the mirror, and then they're yelling at you, but they're actually yelling at the two-way mirror. So they don't see you; they see themselves. They're yelling at themselves, and you get to watch them yell at themselves. And even though they're looking right at you and they're yelling, in your direction, they don't even know you're there. Like you're behind a wall, and that is literally how it is. I don't know if God gave me that analogy, but that's what it feels like. So basically, a person can say, do, be anything they want as long as they don't physically or damage you in some sort of way that is outside of this social psychological sphere. You can just step there and you can just kind of analyze them, just detach yourself and being like, it's like, I wonder, da, 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 I wonder what this is, and that, and you're not, and there's no pretense as far as like, oh, I wonder what they're thinking about me. I wonder if they like me or not. I wonder, if how I say this, if they come across, oh, look, I said something that made them happy, ha ha ha. And it's like all this stuff is just not there because even if you did please them, there's no benefit to that because you realize now that it's not even you. Even if they like you, it's not even up to you. It's just the fact that's who they are, that they like people like you, or they just, so in this situation, let's say you win the admiration of a crowd, like a whole person winning admiration of the crowd would not be flattered at all. They would just see the crowd and just know that crowd, the way that crowd is, happens to like them. So even if they become super powerful, like a super powerful mogul, and people like cater their every need and bow down and worship them, like it doesn't affect a whole person, because the whole person will see them and they'll see they are bowing to an idea in their minds. They don't know who I am. Like if they knew who I was, they wouldn't be bowing to me. Like we'd be playing checkers or something like that. And so it's really this image, and everyone has this image of themselves and image of other people, and there's the disconnect. And whole people don't have the disconnect. When a whole person looks at somebody, they see that person, like they can see them. In the Bible, Jesus is recorded as staring fixedly into people's eyes and being able to tell things about them, or seeing the hearts of people. Like whole people can do this. Like if you come across a whole person, they'll look at you and you'll know they're looking at you. Like they won't be looking at you; they'll be looking, like like there's a difference in like they're present and paying attention to you. They're not talking at you. Like they are very receptive to what you're currently being in that moment, in their sphere. And this is how people are for everything. It's not just people. It's like they're very in tune with what's going on. And so there's not a disconnect. So for example, I guess, well, here's something. Let's say you have this alignment, but then a whole person gets, irritated at you, which doesn't happen often because whole people don't have a lot of judgments. But then you might need to step back and being like, well, maybe there's something going on here I don't know about, because this person's pretty rooted into like the reality and the way of things, and I'm doing something that's making them uncomfortable, and maybe I should reevaluate my situation. So there are situations like that, but even in that situation, you're not going to be thinking, oh, that whole person doesn't like me, I must not be a good person, I must be a bad person. Like you can't let that get to you. The key to this is just one structural alignment for self-worth, but it's a big one. Like the reason people are afraid to like public speak and like afraid to do dance or sing or in crowds or whatever is because they literally, the way people react will affect how they react towards themselves. So if they're in and the more people, the worse it is. So if you're in an auditorium of people that don't like you because of something you did, well, if you're able to look at that, all the people in the auditorium, and say you are all full of it, and then And then that's a high alignment from what I'm telling you. And every whole person can do that. Like 100% whole person will be able to do that. And that's what I'm working towards. And when you can finally do that, and you can trust that you can be in situations where everyone hates you, and that you understand where they're coming from, and it's just how they are for themselves. Once you get to that point, you are free. Like you can do whatever you want. Like you no longer are bound by the whims of the public opinion. Like, and so obviously you're not going to go around doing crazy things, but you could, and maybe you need to one day. Maybe like in Batman Begins, Bruce Wayne had to kick out his entire birthday party and burn his house to the ground so they didn't get killed. I don't know if I could have done that. I mean, I don't know what I would have done in that situation, but they all thought he was a drunkard, and he like got in the paper, and his whole reputation was destroyed, but he did it to save all of their lives because he didn't care. He had the structural alignment. He didn't care. He just had to get him out of the house, and that's the fastest way he could do it. So he just destroyed his reputation. So this is just some stuff that goes into public opinion, self-worth, and all that stuff. And I think what I'm saying is kind of getting across the alignment, the tension, and the misperception, which is that nobody knows who you are but you. And if you know God, then you know that God knows you too. And so between you and God, if you believe in God, like that's it. Like that's it. Everything else, everything else is a judgment on you. So hold that truth and never let it go, because it's really important. So this is Steve Robertson. Post in the comments if you have any questions, suggestions, happy thoughts. Anyway, Steve Robertson, Rescape, day 14. Thanks, bye.